What's up everybody, and welcome to Rig Evolution Part 2, where I'm gonna take you through my massive transition from the meat and potatoes, head and cab setup, you know, the traditional one that I've been using for so many years, and taking it down to a full pedal board setup where literally my entire rig lives on this pedal board. The preamp here is the all-new Fender Towmaster Pro. The power amp is a Seymour Duncan Power Stage 200. So I'm gonna take you through all that, all my settings, how I came to everything, how I've got it routed, all that kind of good stuff. But let's just get right into it right away and hear how it sounds. I've gone through many settings, of which I'll show you, and I've settled on the Uber here. Obviously been a PV6505 user for many, many years, and that's the sound I was going for. But the Fender Towmaster Pro doesn't have any 5150s, 5152s, or 6505s. So like I said, I went through a bunch of high gain amps, settled on the Uber, running it through my PV Invective 4x12 here, mic'd simply with a 57 right there on that top left speaker. Little off the cap, and here's what it sounds like. So pretty ripping, pretty rocking. I hope it is sounding good through the microphone. We'll see later. So yeah, basic setup here. I'm going through my new Shure Wireless, which I showed off in great detail in Rig Evolution Part 1. And guitar to wireless, and then the wireless runs into the Fender Towmaster Pro. Got the expression pedal here that I use strictly for wah, and then the Towmaster Pro is running out through the Seymour Duncan Power Stage, which does have some coloration to it, some EQ there. I was hoping to just bypass that completely, which I could just have everything at 0, but I thought it sounded a little bit better with a little boost in presence and treble. And also, one thing I tried to do, but I failed, is that I wanted to run a line out to just straight to my interface, the mixing console, so we could hear what just a straight signal sounds like, not through a microphone, because that's how I'm gonna be doing it live, at least I plan to. One line will come out of the power stage and go to front of house for the mixing console for what everybody hears through the PA speakers, and then one line will go through my speaker cable to the cabinet that I have on stage for my volume, which can also be mic'd, so that's an option as well. I wanted to try to do it to eliminate the mic completely, where I can just run a signal straight through, but what I found is that I don't like the sound coming out of the power stage. There's a little button right here for cab sim, which you need to turn on, because if you don't have that on, it doesn't know that there's a cabinet there, and it kind of sounds weird. Anybody who's messed around with that knows that you need some sort of cabinet, IR, and that's what that is. But there's absolutely zero control over what kind of cabinet that is, what kind of speakers it is, what the microphone placement is, how the distance of the microphone, the angle, anything like that. And I found that I didn't like that sound. So then I started scratching my head, and I went straight from the Towmaster Pro out, and that gave me the exact sound I was looking for. More about that in a moment, but the problem is that now I have to kind of reconfigure everything based on it coming out of the Towmaster Pro, where I'd set up everything thinking it was gonna come out of the power stage. I kind of jumped the gun on that one. So now I need to go back and do some reprogramming. But let's take a look deep inside this thing and see what we got going on. First, check out my cabling here. If you guys saw in Everything You Love 41, I was talking about how I was wiring this up, making some custom cables and everything, but look how tight this is. Everything's super clean, compact. Look at there, we'll show the back here. Pretty clean, huh? I've got it here, so it's just got a little power cable coming out that runs into a power, so it's just compact. That can tuck right in there. Anybody who gets one of these Temple pedal boards, which I totally recommend, this thing was awesome, dude. I bought these little custom plates that they have that like you're supposed to stick with adhesive onto the back of your pedals, and then it's got this little screw. They're called Temple quick release plates, I think. So you can just screw off from the bottom and then take stuff off if you want. But what I found, so I did end up using some of those for the wireless and the power stage, but for these two things, the expression pedal and the Toemaster Pro, I was able to just take the feet off the bottom and then run the screws through the bottom of the Temple, through the holes of the pedal board, and right back into their original holes. So they're on there so solid. If you don't know what I mean, so like you see these washers. So I just took the feet off of the Toemaster Pro and the expression pedal, and then just screwed them back in, eliminating the feet, but using washers. But a great thing about this Temple board is that all the holes like matched up. Like there must be some standard for machining or something like that. But everything, all the holes matched up perfectly for all that. It was like the perfect spacing of everything. So that was super cool. So I'm happy with the layout. It was really tough to get everything to fit on here. I sat and stared at this thing in different configurations for weeks. Honestly, it was just behind me, and anytime I braked for something or whatever, I just spin around and just stare at it. But I got it exactly the way that I wanted, or as best that I can. Would have preferred to have like that straight, but there just wasn't enough room for it. But thinking about its ventilation and all the cable routing and everything that went into that was pretty tough, but I'm very happy with the way it turned out. So let's take a quick look here at like the amp setup. So when you bring up the Fender Toemaster Pro, this is just the amp here, and here's my signal chain. So basically you just design your chain how you want it. So that's not new, but this layout is, it looks super nice. Everything looks cool. You just click on there. So that looks like an ISP decimator. So I kind of just wanted to build my same GSP 1101 rig that I've discussed in detail in a few videos, and just have it kind of the same setup, but all in here, not having to have a separate rack and everything. So I designed it based around all the sounds that I like for all the tones that I need live and stuff, which we'll go through all that. But I started with, you'll see an overdrive pedal there, but it's not engaged because I decided that I didn't want to use that in my main tone, which I've never used in my main tone, but I did end up using it for some lead tones and stuff like that. It gave me a little extra bite and boost that I was looking for. But currently, perhaps I'll demonstrate this in a moment, currently just with this setup that I have here with my main rhythm tone, if I engage that boost, I do like the sound that it makes, but it adds additional noise that I'm not into, that I wasn't able to control with the decimator and stuff. So again, if I remember when we get back going here, I will demonstrate that. But basically I'm just going my same setup that I've always done, ISP. Actually, I had to run some stuff in like kind of a different order because there's like no effects loop. So I had to experiment of what sounded better pre-amp and what sounded better post-amp. For instance, this EQ and this verb I got going on here, just a tiny little bit of verb, so it's not the deadest stop. There's a little bit of just a tiniest verb coming off there. I mean, look at that mix on there, how low I got that. And then I also felt that the Uber here, after I got that set up, needed, I just experimented with this Mesa EQ, and that really added a nice bite that I liked. I originally started with the 5153. So when I was going through the amps, as I mentioned, there was a few high gain amps. There was like a, what do they call that one? Friedman? I can't remember. But there was like some of the 5150s, there was an Uber, and some other ones. So I first started with the EVH 5153, which I do have a little bit of experience with, and it sounded cool, but it just wasn't quite there. But I left it in the chain just in case. Like I said, I ended up going with the Uber. And then, so then I would copy that to my next one for my lead, where you do see the overdrive is engaged. Oh, also I forgot to mention that I have a wah on there, and you'll see that this can go on any channel. Anytime I can use the wah, then it becomes engaged. See how that came bright there? Then we got a delay, verb, a little more mix there for the lead sound. That same EQ. Oh, and then okay. So this is what I was talking about. So then there's a speaker. You can see it's grayed out though. If I were to unbypass it there, now it's active. But if it were active in this chain, even in my main chain, all my signals are the same. So what I did was I created my main tone and then I copied it to every patch. And then I just added for my lead. So then I added delay and verb, for instance. Then for my harmony tones, I added my harmonizers. For my octave, added other harmonizers. Clean tone, adjusted the settings. Maybe I'll even use a different amp. We'll see that in a sec. But anyways, with the cab on right now, I'm already running through a cab. So it'd be cab into cab, and that wouldn't sound right. But what I discovered was how I was saying I didn't like the cab sound coming out of the Seymour Duncan Power Stage, so I switched over to the Tone Master Pro. I needed to engage a cab. As soon as I plugged it in and had the cab on, I'm like, oh, this sounds weird as hell. So I put the cab on and it sounds fantastic. But currently, everything's running through the same output, so I wasn't able to record both signals for the video because then the cab would be coming through the cab too. But what you can do, let me just bypass this again. There's so many options in this thing. It's really rad, but I'm still getting used to everything. Actually, no, that's not what I wanted to do. Oh yeah, assign preset, signal path type. So I realized there's all these different signal configurations you can do, and what I need is, I just did this quickly before the video and realized that it could be done how I want to do it, where I could have one output going through the cab simulation that's going to go to front of house, and one output that goes straight to this cab without any cab simulation. So it can be done, but then now I need to reconfigure all my settings again. And I was just getting ready to make the video and I'm like, all right, this is gonna take me like an hour or two, so I've just gotta do that later. So unfortunately, I can't show you what the recorded sound out of this sounds like today. You're just hearing the cab sound. They also say in the instructions that the best way to get sound directly out of this is through the USB cable if you're going into like an interface and recording. You know, it sounds straight out of here without a microphone, but maybe it's just me or something, but I'm sitting here thinking, how do you plug a USB into an interface? My interfaces, I have a couple different ones and they have like, you know, mic line instrument inputs, but no USB inputs. So maybe it's just super obvious and I'm just not thinking it and somebody's gonna leave a comment and I'll be like, duh, but I couldn't think of how to do that at the time. Anyways, I need to get rid of this signal path thing. It wasn't that, it was another one. Oh, right here, instrument split. So you see, now when we go through this, there's like a split there. So that's output 1 and output 2, or the unbalanced output and balanced output that'll go to front of house. So I just move that into that line and it worked. But then I gotta go back and do that to all of them. So one of the cons, while I love this thing, it's rad. I'm very happy with it so far. I'm gonna name the cons too, just gonna be honest with everybody. One of the cons I think is that there isn't like an easy, at least not that I found, a copy and paste feature to like, you know, even if you were running 2 signal paths, like I thought I would have to like do like for instance a head, I couldn't just copy it down to the bottom one. I'd have to put another one there and dial in all the settings again or whatever. But again, I could be overlooking that. Fender, I'm sorry if I am. Anything that I'm overlooking or whatever, hey, but that's what this is for, right? People leave comments, help out one another. All my settings here, the entire thing, I'm gonna upload to, and that'll be available over on Patreon for anybody who's interested, if anybody who has to get one of these. I know they're pretty new. I haven't really heard of many people having them yet, but maybe you need to see a video like this to change your mind. So I'm gonna switch that back just to my normal deal, how I had it, which is the first one. But again, I wouldn't say the ability and all the parameters and things you can do is overwhelming, but I'm overwhelmed just right now because it's so new, you know? So yeah, that's cool. Let's play around a little bit and hear what some of this stuff sounds like. So here we are at main again. So that noise that you heard there when I'm on lead, that feedback is due to the boost being on. and I haven't figured out how to contain that yet, but that's okay. I think a little bit of noise is all right in your lead channel. You want them screaming and stuff like that, but for the main, this thing's tight. Hear that? And you hear that little bit of reverb at the end? Just right. And a little bit of something, people are gonna be like, oh, you gotta put foam in your springs, you gotta do that. I don't care, man. That's what an amp sounds like. That's real, and that's what I'm after. So let's move on to the harmony. So this harmony setting, I have two main harmony settings. One is just a higher octave up, and another one, this one is a fifth up. So it's like playing a power chord. Any note that I play has a fifth on it. Might recognize a couple of these. Or and then the octave one. Pretty sweet, clean. Little crunch. So clean with just a little bit. I still think I'm gonna further dial in the cleans and the crunches. I got a great starting place going, and I can always tweak them as I like. These harmonies, the main things I'm using on these to get that is this this pedal that they're showing in there called the Diatonic Harmonizer. It's the best one I found. They do have like Digitech representations, but I wasn't stoked on those. They didn't sound the greatest. I believe they're improving those. I've heard other people kind of complaining about some of the pitch shifting stuff, but this diatonic one, I've been able to get what I want with something super exciting coming up that I was able to get with it. I think it was. We'll see in a second. But octave, same thing. I just found I got, you know, because you can set your pitch and your scale and stuff, what you got going on there. Clean. So I did go with a different amp here. Let's see. I got this sustain pedal on here. Then I'm going through this Fender Twin Reverb. There's a boost, a chorus, delay, large room verb, EQ. So it was fun. I gotta admit, it was super fun, like going through this thing and just having this huge palette of effects, different things I could try, and I was able to look online and see a description of everything. So I kind of like, you know, had a little bit of a roadmap to guide me in the right direction of where I was wanting to go. Crunch, same thing. Let's see. Yep, similar setup. It appears maybe I have this going. Do I have a? Well, this one I'm using the 5153 for the crunch and the clean. I have the 5153. I guess I'm using that too. Yeah, that's the active one. Sorry, I don't have this Fender. Sometimes I bypassed. I just leave them in there as another choice. Like, oh, I kind of like this. Maybe I'll come back to it. So again, I'm kind of still tweaking those clean sounds. But this is super cool. Check this out. This is what I want to show you. And what I talked about in Everything You Love 41, one of the best things about this that I wanted to do is that I wanted to be able to just have a rig that I could pick up and go with super quick, and that includes guitars. So a typical Chimera gig, I'd bring 7 guitars with me, a main and a backup for each of our 3 tunings, plus another guitar. Now I can do all that with 2 guitars, a main and a backup, because I'm gonna just show up in drop C, which is our main tuning, and then, again, that's what this sounds like, pay attention. Then, boom, I'm in my B main. Screwing on my old songs. I don't play that one too often though, but. So, it works. I'm stoked on that. Let's go A, dude. So pretty cool. What else can we do? So very excited about that. I feel confident going into these shows just with 2 guitars, like I said, and being able to just do that pitch shifting like that. What did we do to get those? Let's just see. It is, again, the pitch shifter looks the same as that diatonic harmonizer. Maybe same brand, I don't know. But that's the pitch shifter I used for that. So everything else is the same. And I set up a lead tone for that too. So if I'm in B, I can also have a... no feedback, good. All right, so that may kind of do it for what we got going on there. I don't know what else to explain other than I'm just excited it works. I feel like Doc Brown when he's like, you know, like, oh, it works. I finally invented something that works. Obviously, I didn't invent this, but when I got it all together and plugged it in, that's exactly how I felt. Couple cons about the unit, as I mentioned. It's really these 4 switches on the ends, I think are just totally waste. Now I understand that every player will use this thing differently. Every player will set it up differently just to meet their needs and how they like to do things. But there are some certain things that you're tied to that I just kind of think are bad. For instance, like right up here, this switch right here, it's unassignable. So you can't like put your own patch on it or whatever, but it's just the looper. And in my opinion, I could be totally wrong about this, but how many players use a looper just regularly as part of their normal thing? 1 in 10, you know? And I would say that's even a high estimate. So to make a dedicated switch like that, you can't change to anything else for something that I think isn't really like a popular feature, that's something I was bummed about. Tap and tuner, I mean, okay, I'll probably use a tuner, but I got another tuner just right there, you know? So, but wireless goes down, anything like that, it's good to have another one, that's okay. Tap tempo, I don't use. Again, everybody does something different. So again, I just wish I had the ability to change that to something else. Then these over here, the bank up and bank down, I could put my entire thing on one bank and just eliminate the need to switch scenes. But because of that, or switch banks, I only have these 6 in the middle, where if I could assign all 4 of these to something else, I could have my whole setup, every tone I need, just on one bank here. So again, I wish that was something that you could change the parameters of, rather than them just being fixed and assigned to whatever the default is in that. I did let Fender know about that, and it was cool. I got some feedback saying that perhaps you know, a list of things, kind of like, you know, improvements that I think could be made. We're going to be submitted to their like R&D department or whatever like that for future firmware upgrades. Updates or software or whatever. So that's cool, and that's badass too. A new firmware update has already come out since I got this, and all you do is you take a USB cord, plug it into your computer, and you know, download the thing. It's a simple drag and drop, and it's there. It's updated, ready to go. You can save presets, you can do stuff on your computer and then put it back in. Like if you don't want to work on the Fender ToneMaster Pro, you want to work within your computer, designing presets and all that kind of stuff, you can do it back and forth. Always got a backup, so that's killer. I like that. You know, this thing were to get stolen or damaged or anything like that, I got a full backup ready to go on my computer all the time that I can just load into a replacement that I get, and everything will be exactly the way it was before. Again, I'll have my whole preset thing available over at patreon.com/RobArnoldWorld for anybody who wants to download that. And yeah, just real happy with this, every component of it. I was inspired by this from a video I saw from Fluff and another guy, I can't remember his name, but it was a Sweetwater sponsored video where they were putting together a pedal board with this exact same stuff, just a different expression pedal and a quad Cortex. And that inspired me to do this. So thank you to those guys. But then I had the opportunity to check out the Fender ToneMaster Pro, which I did, and I love it. And I'm glad that I went with it. I'm super happy with it. The power stage seems cool so far. Love the wireless, built tank tough. And I've been playing through it this whole time. It sounds perfect. Expression pedal's nice and smooth, clicks on. Sometimes, you know, you get those crybabies where they just won't click on right or whatever. This one works flawlessly. I love the fact that it's all tight. Can't wait to show you guys the case I got on the way. I got a full case coming that's gonna hold this, plus all my tools, cables, everything like that. So I'm literally gonna have that Gator Vault that I showed off in Everything You Love 41 with the 2 guitars, and one case that's gonna house everything, and I'm just gonna roll through the airport like that with a backpack, OG, or no, not OG, Big Pimpin' style. Sorry, just rolls off the tongue so well, right? Anyways, I'm stoked. I hope you can tell, and I'm really happy to put this to use. The real tests will be when you get in a room with a bunch of guys, and then I'll further tweak stuff as you hear other instruments coming together, or even in the live setting, you know, like how the outputs are sent to the front of house. My front of house engineer will help me dial that in. So we'll get it all super locked in, but I think this is a really good start, and I'm really, really excited about it. So appreciate everybody watching. And if you've made it this far, I appreciate you even more. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already, because I got tons of videos just like this and so much more. Thank you to my entire Patreon community. You guys help make all this possible. Everybody watching right now, every view, every like, every subscription, every comment helps. And I really just appreciate everybody. So check out a couple more of my videos here if you're interested. I'll leave links and everything that I talk about in the description below, plus Sweetwater links to all this gear if you're interested in getting anything like that, and even just clicking on one of those links and purchasing anything at all. It doesn't even have to be any of this stuff, but just from Sweetwater, anything at all, from a pack of strings to a guitar strap or something like that, helps me and the channel as well. So cheers, guys. I'm excited to come back with more videos like this, showing off more as I learn more and everything. Feel free to answer, or I'll answer. Feel free to ask any questions you want, and I'll be happy to answer them. So that's gonna do it. Oh, you know what? I wanted to show it on the Virtuoso real quick too. we got a quick second. Let's hear what it sounds like with some Duncans. I believe these are JBs. So this is the Jackson Virtuoso. I've really grown to love this guitar. The pickups, though, I've noticed, however, are a little more contained and don't have as bright of an edge as an 81, or maybe it's the combination of the body and that guitar and everything like that. I haven't really tried another one, but the EMG versus the Duncan in here, I think the EMG is my favorite. See y'all soon.